Right, so before going any further, I'm just going to go back to the trade panel and just see what these trade deals are worth. Total trade income has now gone up to 1,843. It was 530 earlier on, so I've earned an additional 1,300 odd thaler or gold or whatever you want to call it through those trade deals. And interestingly, Saxony, if you remember, we had to bribe with £110, 110 gold to accept a trade deal. We're likely to earn 275 in the first term, so we're going to make a profit on the Saxony deal anyway. Right, so I'm going to sort out my agents now. I've already moved the gentleman into the college. I've got a Protestant missionary over in East Prussia. Just check what the religious situation is in East Prussia. I've still got 20% of the population of East Prussia are Catholic, so it's probably worth leaving that missionary in East Prussia. I just wonder what the situation is in West Prussia. There's actually 45% of the population are Catholic in West Prussia. I'm a little bit reluctant to move my missionary into West Prussia and start affecting the religious balance there. The risk is that if I start taking too much interest in West Prussia, then I'm really going to encourage Poland to start putting garrisons in the area, particularly if they see the religion starting to go more towards Protestantism. It might encourage them to put troops in the province, and I don't really want them to do that. So I'll leave West Prussia alone for the time being and just concentrate on East Prussia. Religion isn't a major thing anyway, I don't think, in the game. I've got one rake, and I'm going to use him to infiltrate Breslau and keep an eye on what the Austrians are doing in Silesia. We're getting a bit of experience anyway. Oh, they've got an army in there. Interesting. Haven't seen that before. It's not much of an army, but it is an army. Well, I'm now going to move my armies. I've got 3 armies at the moment. There's one as a garrison of Berlin, which I'm just going to leave there. Another one is the garrison of Königsberg in East Prussia. I'm going to leave that there. And the third is this army on the border of West Prussia. I'm going to move that back into the city because I'm not planning to invade West Prussia. So it's just a provocation standing out there. And it's far more useful garrisoning the city. So the other thing I'm going to do is move this unit of pikemen from Berlin to my port. This is the only port I've got. It's always a good idea to put a garrison in your ports. If you leave them unguarded, completely unguarded, it's just a temptation for some guy in a rowing boat to row in and trash the place, which then costs money to put right. So I usually either put a militia unit into each port, or else I'll leave a ship in each port just to stop that happening. It doesn't stop them blockading it, but it does avoid you having to shell out money to repair it after they've attacked. Normally when I'm campaigning, I'll actually disband the pikeman units, but in this particular instance, because they're short of troops and money, and because they're quite cheap to maintain, I've kept them, and I'm just going to use them as token units where it doesn't really matter. I'll disband them later when I've got more money and can afford to replace them with decent troops. So the final thing to do before the end of the turn is decide how best to invest what's left in my treasury. I usually do this, try to remember to do this last in the turn, because there's always a chance that you want to spend the money on retraining troops or something if you get into a battle during it. So it's never a good idea to spend all your money at the start of the turn and then find out you desperately need some before the end. What I'm going to look for is anywhere where I can get a quick return on my investment. So there's a farm here which is only going to take one turn and cost 300 gold to upgrade, and it's going to earn me 175 to region wealth almost immediately, so that's worth investing in. I'll buy that. There's also a craft workshop here which will take 3 turns and will bring in 787 to region wealth. That's everything. But, it's worth checking the roads. Oh, that's 2. What does that bring in? No, not a lot. I'm going to invest in the Weaver's Cottage, in the textile industry. Anything over in Brandenburg? Nothing obvious. You get the little crosses over them if you can get something. I'm going to invest in the Opera House in Brandenburg because it does bring in +2 return to town wealth in the region. And Brandenburg was the least happy of the 2 areas at the time. I'll invest in that. And then I think I'll put the last of the money into infrastructure. I'll just build roads in both provinces, which will improve town wealth in the region by 4 and movement speed. What else is there? Still got some money left. I can invest in conservatum there. That will increase town wealth slightly. And I think that's it. 840 left. Nothing else. Okay, so that's my money invested for this turn. I'm just going to click the end turn button and we'll go on to turn 2 and see how everybody reacts. Right, so let's end turn 1 and see what the reaction is of the AI forces. This is always a nervous moment. I'm not really sure how they're going to react. Put its feet to see. Nothing to worry about there. Moving more troops towards Silesia. Poland's coming up now, see what they do. What's that army up to? No. Slight massing of Polish troops along the East Prussian border there. I mean, ideally, what I'd like to see is Poland and Austria start a war with each other. Would distract them from attacking me anyway. don't really have much interest in what's going on in the Mediterranean. It's a bit too far away for me to worry about at the moment. Hanover didn't do anything. Denmark. Right, well, doesn't look like anything serious happened, so looks like we're going to get another turn to continue our development. Okay, so that's the end of turn completed. We're now in the winter of 1700. So as you can see, the farm that I built in East Prussia is now complete. We've got a confirmation of that. It's worth just going through the messages at the start of each turn just to make sure there's nothing important. My agent has been detected and kicked out of Breslau. It might have upset the Austrians a little bit, but I don't think they've done anything about it. It's just a message about the calendar. Right, so the United Provinces and Spain have gone to war with each other. That's not surprising. They always get in a fight over Flanders. And now that's what I was hoping for. Poland and Austria have declared war on each other. So my two biggest rivals on the border of Prussia are now at loggerheads with each other, and we're likely to get some opportunities to exploit that. That's good. So worst case scenario is they're going to leave me alone for a little while because they're going to be too busy fighting each other. But ideally, one or other of them is going to be weakened by their conflict, and there'll be opportunities while they're distracted with each other to make a few acquisitions of my own. We'll see how it goes. Another piece of good news that I've just noticed is that the Prussian treasury has gone up this turn by 647 gold. At the start of turn 1 we had 8,000 to spend. This turn we've got 8,647. So our economy is obviously moving in the right direction. Before doing anything else, I'll just do the routine checks that I mentioned for turn 1. So I'll just check my government, and as you see I've got a new candidate turned up, but he's not really good enough to replace any of the existing ministers, so I'll just leave him there for the time being. Quick check on the policies tab. Everybody's reasonably happy, nobody's upset. Trade, that's good. I'll check the diplomacy tab, but nothing new has happened. I've not got any new ports, so I can't enter any new trade agreements. And on the research side, I've still got one more turn to go before that research is complete. So that's those checks completed.